Okay, so here you have a bunch of properties on the item. How you can check if this is part of a business view or not, like to be 100% sure, so you go to data item. Okay, and if you see the data item information showing a table, so it says ITM is the data item slash the table name it's associated with. So if the data item you have here is associated with a business view, you'll see a table name here on the data item when you go in the properties. Okay. If it's not, look, I could take the same data item, ITM, from, see here, this is the business view. This is the data dictionary. I'm taking it from the data dictionary, not the business view. Okay. I'm going to move it from here. You can see it's yellow. So this is not linked to a business view. This is linked to a business view. So what that means is that there's absolutely zero functionality that's going to be associated with this column unless you program for it. Whereas the ones that are linked to the business view, you know how you have interconnects that automatically save data for you. They automatically remember when I was originally showing it to you, I was showing you that um, when you have your find browse form, these are all part of a business view. See, they're all in green. If I add another thing from the data item from a from the data dictionary, it's yellow, right? So when I preview this, see all the columns here. Hang on, did I save it? I didn't save it. All the columns here, see this short item number? It's linked to the business view. It automatically has data. You didn't have to tell it really through code what data. It's all through the business view. It's going to go grab the data. This is not linked to the business view. There's no data in it. Same data item. One is exactly. Okay, and the other thing you'll notice is that anything linked to a business view has that QBE, right? Query by example. And this one doesn't have it. Okay, so sometimes when you change your business view, normally it's not good practice to change your business view. Okay, normally you want to set up your business view right away, and you don't. You can add columns to it, you can add tables to it, but you don't want to change the business view. Sometimes I've had to change the business view because I had to make it a little bit uh, different, and I didn't want to affect other applications that were using the same business view. Sometimes when you do that, this this thing that was linked originally to your business view will change from this to this because it doesn't know how to map to your new business view. Okay, and then what you would have to do, just so I can show you, delete it. What you'd have to do is go into the data item. I think I have to save this and reopen it because there's no business. You see, there's no. Oh, you don't have anything in your. You didn't create a business view. You created the business view, but you didn't define it. You didn't associate the table to it. Yeah. So we'll do. Yeah, this one here. Okay, and when I change a business view while the application is running or open, not running, open, that it doesn't capture that change. Okay, so you got to close and reopen. Normally, you're not doing this regularly, right? But if you have to add a column and the app and the form design aid is open, Now you got to close it, reopen it, and then you'll see the new columns available to you. So now, if I had some code associated with this, I wouldn't want to delete this right now and add a new one because it would mess up all my code. So it's not associated. Okay, so what I could do is just double click on it, go to data item, and I can see here my data item information. I see the alias, but no table name, right? Remember? The one that was associated was with a table name. These are my business view, the columns that I have available to me in my business view. So what I want to do is associate this with this one here. It's the same data item, right? So I just double click. Now it's going to be associated. When I click OK, it's going to change to green. How did I figure what? That's it. And there's the same columns in here. Yeah. Yeah. I just picked the one I was the ITM because this is the ITM, right? That's what I wanted. Okay, so that is just the difference between something that's linked to a business view versus something that's not linked to a business view. So generally, more of your columns will most likely be business view because there's no coding involved. It's just automatic, and then everything else is going to be in the data item, and then for the data dictionary. And so the data dictionary says you have everything available to you. Everything. It says you can put anything. You can put as many as you want. Like right now, I can put ITM on this form once. It's already on there. I can't put more than one. Right? With the data dictionary, I can put as many as I want on. I can put that on. You can't unless it's available to you. Like if I look, if I want to add height to here, I have two ways of doing it. The most likely way you're going to do it is just add it from here. Okay? But I could have added the same data item, this one here, 59 HG HD. Right now, it's not associated. If I want to associate it after I've already, right? It's like a type. It's a column. It's a column. Okay. If I want to associate this with this, then I would just say the source of this is not just the data dictionary. You see, there's no, right? The source of this is not the data dictionary. The source of this is my business view column. So now this is directly linked to that business view column. And you see it disappears from here. I can't add it again. Okay, so that's basically it. That's it. Okay, so I'm just gonna explain the link between this and this. Okay, how you can link them together. Um, when you add a business view to this form, it automatically adds a data structure. The data structure that it will automatically add is the primary key. So this form, okay, automatically knows what the primary key is. And because this form is designed to update one record at a time, it knows how to add and how to update based on the primary key. Okay? So if I add the item number and the unit of measure to this form, and I'm just going to add one extra field, height. Okay? Save. Now there's two ways that I can link from this form to this form. And JDE knows whether you call this form in two different modes. It's in add mode or in update mode. Okay, and JDE, without you even coding, knows that you're adding a record or updating a record. Okay, and it'll know based on that, do I do an insert or do I do an update? But there's no programming that you have to do, no programming involved. So it knows like this. When I want to do an add, I'm going to use the standard functionality from JDE. If you go in the menu toolbar exits, under file, there's no add. I'm going to add an add button. So I'm going to add an add. It's a standard button. Okay. I'm going to add it there.
You can have it from here too.
No, this is a push button. These are menu exits. Okay. The difference between that. Where's JD? Here, I'll show you the difference. That's a push button. Form and row exits, okay, are shown. I'll show you. These are exits up here.
Okay.
Okay, in the toolbar.
Yes.
These are buttons.
Yes.
And form and row exits show as a drop down here, one called row, one called form. You'll see that in another. Yeah. Okay. So if I go back to the form menu toolbar exits, this is a standard button for adding. So when I'm in a find browse form, okay, add is for adding a new record. Select is usually for selecting a record and editing it. It's usually, you can do anything with a select button, but normally, like a big chunk of the time, you're going to be editing records. Okay, so we're going to basically make a link between this form and this form in two areas, in add and in select/edit. Okay, so first I'll do a select because it's going to be easy to show you. Okay, so I'm going to select the event, the button, and click event rules. And whenever you're going from one form to another form, it's up here, a form interconnect.
Yeah.
So first thing it's going to ask you when you click that is what application, because you're not restricted to going from form to form within the same application. Right now this application has two forms in it.
Yes.
I can call another application and another form on a different application if I wanted to. You can go anywhere you want. Okay. So right now I'm going to go, what is it, 41002, right? So I'm going to say my form that I want to connect to is in this application. The first question it asks. Then it says, which form in this application do you want to connect to? I'm going to connect to the fix inspect form. Okay. By default, okay, the data structure that's there was the primary key. Remember I showed you?
Yes.
I'm going to click OK for now. But remember I showed you on this form here, the data structure is this.
Okay.
The short item number and the unit of measure. So the data structure is used in many different areas in C and in JDE to pass data around. Okay, and it's
the minimum set to connect.
It's basically just a list of fields. Okay, and it's an input and output. Okay, it's a list of fields that travel together basically.
It ensures that data integrity.
Well, it's not necessarily ensures data integrity, but what it does is it just allows you to have a structure to say, I'm putting something in this structure and I'm giving it to you. You do what you want with it, right? It's like
the other fields that are not in the data structure.
I'll explain that after. But my point now was that a data structure is used everywhere in JDE to pass information and pass data around. So you can pass data similar to like a function in C sharp where you're passing parameters. Well, you don't pass single parameters. You always have to define a data structure first, and you pass parameters to the data structure, and you pass the data structure as a whole to you, and you can do something with that data structure. So anyway, that we'll get into another time. But what I want you to understand is that when you create a fix inspect form and you associate that form with a business view, usually that business view is going to be a single table, okay? And the application in the development environment knows right away to analyze that table to figure out what's the primary key of that table and add it automatically as the data structure. What that allows you to do is facilitate um, automatically the selection and saving of your stuff without any coding. Okay, so I'll show you how that's done. Okay, so when I go back to the select button here, I click. This is my form interconnect that I created before. I didn't pass any information to it. What I'm gonna pass here is data from my grid column, and I'm gonna have to do another tutorial on that because I'm gonna do that in a second. Hang on, let me delete this one first. I'm gonna pass some information there. I'm gonna pass is this. So basically I'm telling it, I'm passing the primary key. Okay. So when I pass the primary key, look what JDE will do automatically for us. No coding. When I double click that, it's the same thing as clicking select here.
Yes.
It's gonna knows that's the primary key. You can't touch it,
Yes.
but I can edit this.
This is the objects that is transferred.
This is the key that I just transferred,
Yeah.
and it automatically went and selected the record in the table that matches that key. Okay, and the parameter that does that here, if I go here in the options, these are the key. These are the automatics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fetch from business view. If I uncheck that,
You won't.
it's not gonna fetch the data for me. Same thing if I uncheck update, then when I click save, it's not gonna issue a save command. It's not gonna issue the insert or the update statement.
Oh, okay.
This is what makes the automatic stuff happen for you. Okay, so it it will analyze what it does is it looks or knows what the primary key is, and then all you have to do to the form is give it the primary key. You give it the primary key, and it knows what table it needs to grab data from based on the primary key, and it looks at this to see do an automatic fetch without any programming, or do I not? Okay, so let me show you if I uncheck that. Just this one here. Okay, I'm gonna pass the data, but it's not gonna fetch my record. Ah, I'm on the wrong thing here. Go back here. See? Didn't fetch my data.
Yeah.
Okay?
You have to search for it.
So if I want complete control, let's say, okay, and I don't want to have it automatic. Normally, you're not unchecking this. Like probably a good 80 to 90% of applications, you're going to keep that checked, okay? But if I want to do this myself in code, what I could do is uncheck it. I can go into the event rules, and on the event, I'm gonna put it in the post dialog is initialized. So that's big. When this form loads, okay, I can go to the table myself and fetch it. So I'm gonna go table input output, fetch. So I'm gonna just do a simple example of fetch single. I'm gonna go to the table myself, F5541002. I'm gonna take the data that's passed to me. Okay, and the data that's passed to you is called form interconnect. I'm gonna go into this in another yeah unit of measure, and I'm going to assign the control. I'm gonna go and grab the height. Okay, so I'm doing it myself instead of it automatically doing it for me. So now when I preview that, I'm on the wrong thing again here. I double click. See, I just programmed that to go get the data. It didn't automatically get the data for me. Okay, so, but again, that is very rarely done. Like you want to, it's rapid development, this stuff. So it's like put a business view in, and then it's already hooked up, and there's like little code you got to do. You got to do like the extra stuff, right? I'm gonna remove that. Okay, so stop me. What do I do? Stop or pause?